If you think the YouTube algorithm is the reason your channel isn't growing, think again. The algorithm doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about behaviour. Most creators, all too often, will blame external forces way too quickly, but the algorithm or the competition isn't why you're not growing, because your growth will often stall because a lack of clarity or consistency, or in the worst case, both. So there's a whole bunch of common habits that are going to slow your growth. So let's go through these common habits so you can make sure you don't pick them up. Whether you're starting to create content, you've been creating content for years, or you're on the edge and thinking about doing it, let's make sure you don't make these habits or pick up these bad habits. So number one is chasing trends. Please do not chase the next trend. Don't chase a trend without purpose. If that trend aligns with your whole purpose for your channel and it's going to help you create impact, okay. But if your channel is just based around chasing the next trend and it doesn't really matter what that trend is, it's just trending and you're doing it just to get views, please don't do that. One of the reasons is it just lacks clarity, okay? There's no focus there. There's no clear benefit for your audience apart from you just jumping on the bandwagon of this trend. And it's prioritizing short-term dopamine for you, and it's sacrificing long-term sustainable growth for your own channel, your skill sets, and also the impact that you can actually have, okay? Chasing the next trend is not going to create an impact in the world. It's not going to push the needle. Are you really going to be proud when you look back in 10 years on your YouTube channel and all you were doing was chasing trends? Where did that get you? Hundreds of thousands of views, loads of subscribers, awesome. That's just vanity metrics. They're just numbers on a screen. What did you actually accomplish? Did you just fill time in people's lives? Or did you actually make a difference? Did you inspire them? Did you motivate them? Did you teach them something that they didn't know and have a real impact on their life? To me, that's more important. I hope that's more important to you. So another bad habit is just inconsistent posting. We need to gain YouTube's trust, especially when we start out. And not only YouTube's trust, we need to gain our audience's trust as well. How do we do that? We need to be consistent. We need to become part of their habits. If you post your first video on a Sunday evening and you start getting views on that video, post another video next week, Sunday evening. Post it at the same time if you can. Because what we want is we want our audience to anticipate our next upload. Even if they're not consciously anticipating it, we want them to subconsciously anticipate that upload. We want them to open up their YouTube app on a Sunday evening, which they probably do if that's where they saw you initially. It's part of their routine. We're becoming part of their routine now by uploading on Sunday. They watched the video last week, they had a good experience. They open it up this Sunday evening, they see you've got a new video, they're more likely to click. So let's be consistent. Let's not upload one Sunday evening and then upload on a Wednesday morning and then do a Friday afternoon, and let's try and get some sort of consistency. The third common habit that people are guilty of doing, and I've been done the same thing, is weak packaging. So what do we mean by packaging? Packaging is just how you package up your video. YouTube is a click first platform. It's not short form content where you're just scrolling and you're just served whatever the algorithm wants to serve you. No, you're served an impression, you're served someone's title and their thumbnail when you're scrolling, but you're the one that has to take action. You're the one that has to click on the video to watch it or not. This is the first step of our audience's journey, so it's super important. We can't skip this first step. We can't neglect this first step. We can't expect anyone to watch this amazing video that we've created if we don't actually put effort into the titles and the thumbnails. It's so obvious, okay, but it might not be obvious to you. It wasn't obvious to me a while ago, but now is glaringly obvious. And a lot of the times I'll actually create I'll pretty much always create my title before I make the video, but all too often I'll also create the thumbnail before I actually make the video as well, because it's so important. And sometimes I'll actually spend, in fact more often than not, I'll spend more time creating the title and the thumbnail than I will on the video, because it's so important. If we don't get that click, we don't get that view. And if we don't get the view, YouTube doesn't get the data. We don't get the data that we need in order to actually grow our channel. So another bad habit that slows down growth is a lack of viewer understanding. So we don't understand what our audience actually wants. We're just creating what we want and not what the audience actually wants. This is a relationship. It can't just be me. It's all about me and I'm just going to do what I want to do. That's fine, go and do that, but you're not going to grow like a real good relationship there. You're not going to grow the audience that you really want. And again, you're not going to have that impact, okay? Let's find the balance. Let's find that harmonious spot in the middle where we are able to create content that we enjoy. I'm not saying go and just create content just for your audience and not for you. Don't go and create the thing that's in the highest demand right now and there's not enough supply and just do that because you're going to get views. No. Create something that you're actually interested in, that you're passionate about, that you could talk about endlessly, but provide value for your audience. Okay? Answer the common questions that they might have. Okay? Just do something as simple as that. So, understand this. Now that we've went through all of the bad habits that you can make, we're in the more positive side of the video now. We've got all that bad stuff out the way. Understand this. The algorithm simply amplifies what already works. It is a mirror. It's not a gatekeeper. Okay? This is why if you go on YouTube, you watch a video and you look at the suggested videos that are being suggested to you, that is why those videos have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of views. It's why they're maybe a year plus old, because the algorithm understands that content. It knows that it works for a certain group of people. That is just proof that it just mirrors what already works. And this is why it's really difficult when you're starting out on YouTube, because YouTube doesn't have the data on you. It doesn't know what your content's about, doesn't know who to show it to, and it's just not going to take that gamble. The certainty of that it has, if we have 100% and 0% of certainty of YouTube showing your video to someone and them watching it and having a great experience, when you start out, that certainty is 0%. Because YouTube has no idea about you. But over time, as you put out more and more content and you get more and more views and you get more and more engagement, that certainty level is going to go up. YouTube's going to trust you more. It's going to become easier for you to get views over time. But we need to be consistent, okay? We need to have great packaging, okay? We need to not chase trends and provide value for our audience. So YouTube understands that we're focusing on a particular audience and we're not just jumping on the next bandwagon. We need to understand what our audience actually wants. So what do you do instead? Okay, what's the solution here? So you need to nail your message. So that is the clarity aspect of it. You need to nail your message and you need to nail who you're actually serving. So we need to understand, what are you trying to achieve and what are you trying to help the viewer achieve? So ask yourself, what advice would have helped you 6 months ago? Or even ask yourself, what advice would have helped yourself 10 years ago? Because the knowledge that you have right now, there's always someone out there who is 6 months, if not 10 years behind you. And just because this stuff is like common knowledge to you now, it wasn't common knowledge to you 10 years ago, okay? And you probably picked up a lot of it by watching YouTube videos, by watching other people share that knowledge with you, okay? It's super important. We're passing it down to the younger generations. And even if you're passing it to the older generations, it's awesome. We're just passing this knowledge on, and that's fantastic. That's what we want to do. We want to keep that cycle going. So if the easiest way to like create content within the niche that you put out is simply just to answer common questions. And you might be put off from doing this because you think, well, other people have put videos out there and they've answered that common question, so I'm not going to put out a video answering that common question. Everybody knows the answer to that. That's wrong. It's totally wrong, because there's tons of people out there who do not know the answer to those questions, and you have that knowledge in your head. You can make a video, doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be good enough, put it out there, provide value to them, and start building up that positive flywheel, that positive momentum, start building up that data in that community. So another thing that we can do instead is just improve our storytelling and our retention as well. This is really interesting. I like this part. So we want to get bums on seat and we want to keep them there. Okay, that's what YouTube wants. It's a business. It wants viewers to click on a video, have a great experience, and stay on the platform. Okay, it doesn't want them to watch your whole video and then bounce. It wants them to stay on the platform, binge watch all of your videos, or watch your video and then go watch someone else's video. It doesn't really care, so long as they have the highest amount of viewer time on the platform. That's what YouTube wants. And this doesn't mean that you need to over edit your videos. You know, these videos that I'm making right now, there's no cuts. I just start doing it and I'm just rolling. There's no cuts. Doesn't matter what happens. I'm not going to cut anything out, because I've done my bullet point script here. I have a flow to it. I'm making sure this is engaging and entertaining for you guys, and there's knowledge here to be gained, and I'm sharing it with you just like a friend would, just like in a conversation. You know, you see, before I started this YouTube journey, I was watching so many videos about, make, high retention edits, and, you want to like zoom in and zoom out and have all these graphics on the screen and every 3 seconds have a change in shot and change this and change that and, change your tone and all that stuff. Yeah, it can definitely help keep retention, but I don't know about you guys, okay? You tell me this in the comments, but whenever I watch a video like that, that's so over edited and there's so much going on, yes, it's stimulating. Yes, it keeps me engaged. Yes, I'm watching the screen. I'm not looking away. But at the end of that video, do you ever go to yourself, what were they talking about? What was the message there? It was engaging, it was entertaining, but did you actually learn anything from it? Or was it just so fast and so high-paced that you just couldn't pick it up? And maybe it's just me, maybe it's just the way my brain works, but I prefer a much more casual approach, like conversation like this. Think about it in real life. If you're talking to a friend and you're sharing a story with them, or you're trying to tell them about something, do you do all these zoom ins and graphics and, start pulling out graphic cards and everything like that? No. Start pumping up the music here and bring it down. And, I understand there's a time and place for that sort of stuff, but it's not necessary. It really isn't. All of that stuff can enhance the retention of a video, but does it really affect the impact, or does it just get more views because people are just psychologically more stimulated by all of the cuts and zoom ins and all the different stuff that goes on? So it's just an interesting thing to think about. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about that? What do you think about these high retention edited videos compared to something that's more slow and natural? And this is a point that I would make as well, is that while everybody else is getting into this high retention edits and changing everything every 3 seconds and every second counts and all that stuff, because people's attention spans are just becoming less than a goldfish these days, while that's happening, there's a gap in the market. There's a gap in the market for natural, long form, having a conversation just like we normally would in the good old days. There's a gap in the market there. So just do that. I don't see why you wouldn't do that. And I am saying this humbly from a point of view where my first 2 videos, I literally did the whole high retention stuff. I maybe didn't do it to the scale that you see a lot of the days on YouTube now, but it was way more edited than what I'm doing just now, okay? Way more edited. And did it perform better as a new channel? No, it didn't. So why waste the time doing that? And like I said, I don't think it has the same impact. It just goes in one ear and out the other. Yeah, just something to think about. So what else can we do? We can double down on our clarity and our consistency. They're the 2 most important things. I talk about it all the time in my videos because it's so important. It's the fundamentals. This is how life works. This is how you get good at anything, at mastering a craft, is breaking it down to the basic fundamentals. Forget all the fluff and all the distractions and the shiny objects and people telling you, turn off this setting or do these 10 things before and after every upload and you'll go viral. That's all bogus, okay? They're just doing that to get clicks. No offense to you guys putting out those videos. Maybe you've got that title in the thumbnail to get people in the door, to get those bums on seats, and then you're actually delivering valuable content. I don't click on your videos, so I don't know. So maybe that is what you're doing. So, okay, hats off. But if you're trying to tell people, just turn off this setting and you're going to go viral, if that worked, everyone would be doing it. Everyone would be going viral. So let's look at the fundamentals. Let's just break it down to the basic fundamentals. How do you get good at this whole thing? And it's clarity, knowing what your message is and who it's for, and consistency, doing it over and over and over again. It sounds boring, okay, because it is, but that's the truth. That's how you actually get good at this. It's how you get good at anything, okay? You need to know what you're doing, what direction are you going in, clarity, and you need to keep doing it. Show up again and again and again and practice, consistency. That's all it is. So do that, double down on it, let the momentum build, and create a system. Create a system that takes all of the guesswork out of the equation so you can just focus on being clear and consistent, okay? Systems are going to change everything for you because you're not going to have to think about every little detail, okay? You can create a system that takes all that guesswork out. So the algorithm is not against you, okay? It's just waiting for a signal. It's waiting for the right signal. So show up with purpose and it will meet you halfway. So if you want to know the exact system that I'm using to come up with video ideas, even when I'm not inspired, because guess what? I'm not inspired 24/7. I've actually made a video where I share the exact system that I use. So watch the video over here to copy it. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.